citizen Belongi mystery have in common. All of them are Zoroastrians, the ancient religion of Iran. This is one of the oldest ongoing religions and altered the course of human history by influencing Judaism, Christianity, Islam and Greek philosophy. But today it only has a fraction of the millions of followers it once had. So what is Zoroastrianism? What do Zoroastrians believe? And where do other ancient Iran at least 3,500 years ago? It all began around 1500 BCE. Give or take a few centuries, with the prophet Zarathustra, or Zoroaster, as the ancient Greeks called him, and so English speakers do too. While we call the religion Zoroastrianism, actual Zoroastrians tend to call it Mazdayazna, meaning worshipper of Mazda. No, not that Mazda, but it actually was named after the Mazda that I'm going to explain shortly. Zoroastrianism was the chief religion of Iran for around 1,000 years. Between the 6th century BCE and the 10th century CE, it was the state religion of three huge Iranian empires. The Achaemenid Empire of 300 fame, along with the Parthian and Sasanian empires. Back then, the priests of Zoroastrianism were known as Magi. The ancient Greeks thought these Magi had secret magical knowledge since they understood complex astronomy. This led to the English words magic, mage, and magician. The Magi would even show up in the Bible. According to the Gospel of Matthew, 3 Zoroastrian Magi came to visit the baby Jesus. These 3 wise men, as they are known in English, are still celebrated by Christians around the world.
Electronics and
Eventually, the Sasanian Empire would fall to the Muslim Arabs during their invasion of Iran in the 7th century CE, which started the decline and persecution of Zoroastrians in Iran. Following this, in the 10th century, some Iranian Zoroastrians fled to India, forming the Parsi community, named after where they came from, which the Indians called Persia. This once refugee community now forms the largest group of Zoroastrians anywhere on earth, and they've settled in quite well. One of India's largest businesses, Tata Group, was founded by Zoroastrians, and Parsis played a massive role in winning Indian independence from Britain. Zoroastrians can now be found all over the world. Historically, they've emigrated to areas such as Singapore, Hong Kong, and parts of Africa, such as the island of Zanzibar, where Freddie Mercury's Parsi parents would later emigrate from to the UK. In the last 100 years, small Zoroastrian populations have moved to the UK, US, Australia, and Canada. Today, there are about 200,000 Zoroastrians left. About 60,000 live in India, while the second largest group of about 25,000 lives in Iran. With small Zoroastrian populations have moved to the UK, US, Australia and Canada. Today there are about 1,000 lives in Iran. With a religion being called Zoroastrianism, I think maybe it's about time we spoke about Zoroaster. We don't know much about Zoroaster's life. We can't even pinpoint when he lived. The Greeks thought he lived 6,000 years before the death of Plato, so around 6,347 BCE-ish, while modern historians place him somewhere around 1,700 to 1,000 BCE. During this time, the peoples of Iran believed in many different gods, some of which were similar to the gods of their ancient Hindu neighbours. What we do know is that Zoroaster was the priest of the pre-Zoroastrian religion of Iran, and that he was outraged by his society. Roving bands of drunken warriors would ravage the countryside. They pillaged, tortured and slaughtered at will. The common people lived in constant fear and misery, while priests obsessed over obscure rituals and sacrifices that offered little guidance or hope to the suffering. Zoroaster couldn't stand this injustice. So, when he was 30 years old, Zoroaster went down to a river to fetch water for a ceremony. There he received a vision from a being of pure light and goodness, Ahura Mazda, who revealed that they were the one true God. The truth of how the universe worked was revealed to Zoroaster, and he knew that it was now his divine mission to spread this truth to his fellow humans. So, what are the core beliefs of and Angra Mainyu? Zoroastrians worship one uncreated, eternal god known as Ahura Mazda, which means wise lord. Zoroaster describes Ahura Mazda as the lord of order, something completely good, loving, infinitely wise, and the creator of the world and all good things. Ahura Mazda is supported by 6 holy immortals known as the Amesha Spentas. These 6 holy immortals are normally compared to archangels in Christianity, if that helps you kind of figure out what their position is. Sometimes there is a 7th Spenta called Spenta Manu, but maybe he's also the Holy Spirit of Ahura Mazda? Sometimes Ahura Mazda also has a parent called Zurvan, who is time itself. but that's considered heresy at this point. Look, we don't have a lot of time to get into it. Honestly, it's a very old religion. There have been many different interpretations over the last 3,000 years. I'm really just simplifying and providing the most commonly accepted current beliefs. So keep that in mind, and as always, there's more information in the description. Apollyon, the destructive spirit, and his evil minions known as Devas. Angra Mainyu is the complete polar opposite of Ahura Mazda. He is darkness, deceit, death, and decay. He is a corrupting parasite seeking to destroy Ahura Mazda's creation and is responsible for all negative things in the world. Ahura Mazda is light, Angra Mainyu is darkness. Ahura Mazda is the creator, Angra Mainyu the destroyer. Ahura Mazda created light, fire, compact Japanese vehicles, joy, humanity, puppies probably. Angra Mainyu gave the world disease, rust, mold, darkness, and that little piece of skin that pops up around your fingernail that hurts so much. Why, Angra Mainyu? Why? Zoroastrians think everything is a battle between these two opposites. Ahura Mazda represents the truth, Angra Mainyu the lie. For humans, life is a constant choice between the truth and the lie, which may be difficult because Angra Mainyu can be very deceiving. Before time began, Ahura Mazda and Angra Mainyu were separated by an infinite void. They respectively lived in infinite light and infinite darkness. Then Ahura Mazda created the physical or Getig world. Angra Mainyu crawled into this new world and polluted it. They made the oceans salty, they turned the good earth into desert, killed the first human, made plants wither, and polluted fire with smoke. We now live in a time Zoroastrians refer to as the Gumezishin, or the mixture. Good and evil, truth and the lie both exist together in our world. But Angra Mainyu's presence is temporary. They are a stain on the world rather than a permanent fixture. Zoroastrians see the physical world as a trap that Ahura Mazda lured Angra Mainyu into. Now trapped in the physical world, Angra Mainyu can be defeated slowly by the good thoughts, good words, and good deeds of humans working with Ahura Mazda. 2. Heaven and Hell. Zoroastrians believe that when a person dies, their soul leaves their body. Their soul is then led to the bridge of judgment. Above this bridge lies heaven, below hell. Here the soul's good and bad deeds